All right, good afternoon. This is the first in the Division of Child Care Services Community Conversations. I want to welcome everybody for joining us and bearing with us when we set up the technological setup. I want to thank our interpreter, John. So this broadcast is also being interpreted live into Spanish. So thank you for everybody who's joining us on the Spanish channel and everybody who's joined us here. The information we'll be distributing today is in English, but we will be sending it out in Spanish as well. So appreciate your patience as we get these underway. But we're very excited. So we'll have a nice full agenda and kind of set up what the goal of these calls are. My name is Nora Yates. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of the Division of Child Care Services. Very grateful to be here. And then we can launch into the agenda. And you'll find out, but we always have a ton to go through and probably miss a ton as well. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the goals of these calls and these broadcasts, give you some updates on the most recent executive budget from the governor. We have put out a ton of information on our webpage, but it's not always easy to find. So we want to give you some updates on the child care grants and some child care data that's available. Then we've got some health and safety updates, like our Pack and Play initiative, and we can talk a little bit about what is available for child care providers and early educators in New York. We have an exciting impact project that we want to talk through with all of you so that you make sure that you're engaged currently and right from the beginning, and then we'll provide updates along the way. And then we have a couple provider questions that we'll address at the end of the call. Right now, because of how big our provider universe is, we can't have kind of open questions with 17,000 providers. I know we have a small number joining us today, but we expect that to grow. So we're going to accept your questions and then address them at the end of the session, and then we'll collect them for next time. So let's talk about these sessions. If you can go to the next slide. Great. So our intent with these community conversations are to provide an update and an opportunity to talk with all of our child care providers and early educators. We're going to be doing those bi-monthly. You can hit the next slide. We're going to be doing these sessions bi-monthly. So we got this one in February. And then we will have live interpretation in Spanish. And our intent is also to have the information presented in Spanish as well. So stay tuned for that. We do encourage people to send in questions and then or topics, and then we will address them during the next session. So just make sure to send them to this email address, and in the subject line, put community conversations. And then if you missed the call or are unable to join, we are going to be posting both the English and Spanish information on our webpage, and we'll be sending out this slide deck and this presentation in English and Spanish, as well as a link to the recordings after each of the calls. This is an opportunity, we think, to make sure that we can highlight some important information, hear from our provider community, and hopefully clarify any new things that are coming out or issues or updates. And hopefully we can use this space to provide kind of more timely information and hopefully get people more engaged or get people more up to date on grants or regulations or anything like that. So without further ado, let's jump into the budget, because the budget did just come out. The governor's budget did just come out in January. We're very excited by this budget because there were several really important investments in childcare. If you want to go to the next slide. The governor continued her commitment to the expansion of the Child Care Assistance Program. So if you all remember, there was a commitment to $7.4 billion over 4 years to all of the expansions of child care assistance. Most recently, last year, it expanded to reach families of 4 earning $99,000. So with that expansion, the governor committed to considerable increases in funding for child care assistance. there is a considerable amount of resources out in all of our local social service districts. And so we are encouraging all of our districts to reach out to families and get them signed up if they are eligible. If you're a provider and you don't currently accept child care assistance, we really encourage you to do so, because I think with this level of commitment and with this level of investment, it's really important to have your partnership there as well. I will hand it over to Joy to tell you about more updates.
Thank you, Nora. Welcome, everyone. Very excited for this community conversation and to continue the budget updates. My name is Joy Connolly, and I'm Associate Commissioner here at the Division of Child Care Services. In the budget, we're very excited to see that there was an increase in funding for after-school programming by $17.7 million. So now the total funds for after-school programming is over $100 million. And one of the unique things about not just the increase in funding, but this after-school programming opportunity is that we have combined, this funding combines the Advantage and Empire State after-school programs into a single program to help standardize funding streams and eligibility and to reduce administrative burdens on providers. We know that after school is a critical time for children to experience and to expand their learning opportunities. And so this funding does require a SAC license. And the goals of the program are to promote high quality comprehensive after school programming, to prioritize students' social emotional wellness, as well as to expand students' community and family engagement within their local community. So there are some links on the screen and we'll send that out, but pay attention to LEAPS. We are very excited that this opportunity is out there and for the funding that comes with it. And I will pass it to Erin.
Good afternoon. My name is Erin Cassidy, Associate Commissioner in the Division of Child Care Services, and I'm happy to share some additional highlights from the Governor's proposed executive budget for child care. So we're excited to announce that the budget will continue the Workforce Retention Grant Program, and OCFS will be issuing one additional payment to providers. We will be providing more information in the coming weeks, so be sure to look out for more details on the next payment. There were several other budget initiatives that I'll touch on briefly, including the staffed family child care networks. So these are regionally based pilot networks that will be focused on supporting family and group family providers by offering additional business and operational supports. The budget also includes the expansion of infant-toddler mental health consultants, increasing the number of infant-toddler mental health consultants at the 7 regional infant-toddler resource centers across the state. They gave me all the tongue twisters. Lastly, differential payment for high-quality providers. So this proposal will provide increased payment rates for providers to incentivize quality improvements for programs that are accredited by a nationally recognized child care organization, participate in Quality Stars, or participate in the OCFS non-patient epinephrine auto-injector initiative. So for more information on each of these initiatives will be coming later this year, but just be on the lookout for information on all of those exciting initiatives. So next we're going to move away from the budget and talk a little bit about highlighting some of the things on the OCFS Division of Child Care Services webpage. So we've added a lot of new information and we wanted to highlight a couple of those for you today. So the child care grant programs, there's a lot of information you can find on the website, which hopefully many of you have already visited. You can find information regarding stabilization, child care desert grant, and the workforce retention grant programs. So in addition to mentioning the website, I also wanted to share a few reminders regarding the workforce retention grant. So as always, you must have children in care. I also wanted to mention that if you've not completed your final expense report for the stabilization grant, please do so as soon as possible, or you'll be required to return those funds to OCFS. Programs will not be eligible to receive the next workforce retention grant payment until they have completed their final expense report. So it's really critical you get that done as quickly as possible if you haven't done so already. And if you have questions on how to submit, You can contact your CCR&R, the regional office, or contact the grants mailbox directly, and all of those avenues are happy to help you. So I'm now going to hand it back to Nora to talk about the child care data page.
Great, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Another great update to our website, which I personally love, but in case it's useful for all of you, we did put a childcare data webpage available. That this allows for a lot of information that we get asked about frequently. And so rather than answering these in a one-off way, we wanted to put a web page up so that everybody had access to it. So this includes our childcare facts and figures document, which we produce annually, and just gives a broad overview of the childcare system by modality, by region, the childcare assistance program, and how many families and children served, and other information. It also, we have childcare provider data available on our webpage, which you all know parents and families can search, but also we get information about the number of programs in a certain county or a certain region. So this information will help with that. If you didn't know about where to research how many families are taking part in the child care assistance program, a lot of that information is also available, such as spending by district. And so we are posting monthly the spending by district around the state of the child care assistance funds. There are funds available in every district. So this will kind of allow you to have any conversations you might be having with your local social service district and getting families who are eligible access to this important resource. And there's also important information and other related data and key terms. So I love data and we wanted to highlight it for all of you. And then moving on to news you can use. We wanted to include in these calls some important information or just updates for childcare providers and early educators, either that's coming from OCFS, but in the future, this will be a part of these sessions that can highlight for you some information from our partners and our other stakeholders. So I am going to pass it over to Chris Coons. And Chris, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you for letting me know. So, take two. My name is Chris Coons, and I'm privileged to be the Director of the Bureau of Operational Support Services here at the Division of Child Care Services, and hopefully this is great news for family-based programs to use. We are super pleased to continue to support safe sleep in childcare by offering pack and plays to all home-based childcare providers at no cost. All licensed and registered family and group family childcare programs, as well as home-based legally exempt programs, are eligible to request a pack and play with one fitted sheet, again at no cost to them. Group family daycare providers are eligible to receive 2 pack and plays and fitted sheets. All of the pack and plays also come with the information that you see. So there is some helpful info on safe sleep. The flyer that you see on the screen was emailed out to all of the home-based programs who are eligible. So if you haven't yet done so, you can click on the link or scan the QR code to get your application. Once your application is approved, the fitted sheets and the pack and plays will be directly shipped to your program within about 2 or 3 weeks. If you have any challenges, there is information on this flyer also where you can reach out to a shared mailbox, and we would be happy to assist you. So in the event that we missed your email or you just haven't had a chance to look in your inbox yet, this information is also posted in English and Spanish on the OCFS website. So we're hopeful that you will take advantage of this important opportunity. Next slide, please. I will pass it back to Joy.
Thank you, Chris. So we have applied for and been selected to be involved in an impact project. The purpose of an impact project is to help states, territories, and tribes develop and expand their capacity for planning, investing in, and implementing quality early childhood systems, policies, and practices. We have identified quality as the theme for our impact project and are looking to create a statewide definition of quality childcare that will inform our programs and services that are funded by OCFS. This is a 2 to 3 year process, and throughout the project, we aim to be as transparent as possible and to engage as many stakeholders, families, partners, licensed and registered providers, legally exempt and child care assistance program enrolled providers, as well as the general public to gather information and determine how quality childcare may be defined for New York. We are launching a website and a survey this week that will be open from March to May. And we encourage you to not only take the survey, but to share it broadly with families, with friends at a cookout at the library. We really want to gather as many voices as possible to inform this quality definition for the state. We acknowledge that one of the ways that we provide quality currently is through our quality rating and improvement system, otherwise known as Quality Stars New York. For those of you that are participating, we thank you. And we are collaborating with Quality Stars New York to learn more about the existing standards and processes, as well as to really allow for a broad conversation about how quality hits all of our programs through many ways. So we continue to meet regularly, and when you see the survey and website, please take the time to participate. And I will pass it to Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in with us this afternoon. I wanted to talk to you just briefly about what you can expect, and some of you may experience as an increased regulator presence in your program. So our goal is always to be a supportive resource and to partner in your program success. And to do that, which means a increased regulator presence in your program. And we know that increased compliance leads to better outcomes for children. That is something that we all have a common goal, is to make sure that children in care are receiving the best care possible. And this may not be new to all programs across the state. It was a typical process pre-COVID, but as you know, COVID sent us all a little bit sideways. So you can expect in the very near future and in the coming future to see your regulator at your door in your program to help you succeed in any way possible. So please see them as a resource of, as the image suggests, help, support, and guidance. Thank you again, and I will turn it back over to Nora.
Fantastic. So there is over 100 people watching on YouTube, which is fantastic. And I believe there's over 50, but I'm not sure the number, possibly more, watching on our Spanish interpreted link. So thank you everybody for joining. So this first call was our kind of effort to set these up. And so we knew this call was going to be kind of high level. So I wanted to, there's 200 people in the Spanish language. Fantastic. So, so this slide gives you the contact information to send in questions or topic information. And these recordings, like I said, will be posted. But we want to take a minute to kind of give you a heads up on what's on the horizon. And we had some questions from some providers already that we wanted to address today. So Jim Hart, who's our Director of Program Operations, is having some technical difficulties. So we're going to pinch hit for Jim as best we can. So what is on the horizon for the Division of Child Care Services and OCFS? I do know that there's a lot of effort underway with updating our comprehensive background checks. And so I think we had got questions from folks on what is the plan for 2024 on background checks and what's coming up. And I think Tracy's going to try and pinch hit for Jim.
Big shoes to fill, but I will certainly try. So we are approaching the 5-year mark on our comprehensive background check, or CBC, process. This process is now fully supported by FAMS, our Facility Application and Management System. Staff will be made aware when those CBCs are coming due. Programs are also receive email, so please follow these prompts and get the process completed in a timely manner so we can keep you on schedule. Please submit all the required documentation via our FAMS. There are ongoing technical assistance sessions to support all of your FAMS and CBC questions. The next session coming up is February 29th, followed by a session on March 12th and 28th. Please go to our comprehensive background check website and get all the details and sign up to renew. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Great job. And so if you're not familiar with FAMS and you are not familiar enough with FAMS, there's a lot of movement coming up for CBC renewals. And so we encourage you, even if it's not time to do your CBC renewal, to get more familiar and go to these help sessions. They are small groups, and so it's a great opportunity to jump in and get, one-on-one or one-on-six assistance. So for childcare providers using FAMS, that's really a great avenue and for you to become more familiar.
Nora, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to add, it might also be helpful if you can't make it to a training session. The website has been expanded to include a facility application and management training and resource center. So there's a wealth of information listed on the OCFS website, including a shared mailbox where if you're having technical assistance or technical challenges, you could email your questions as well.
Thanks, Chris. So staying with Chris, I think one of the questions we got was what's on the horizon for professional development and training, and some of our health and safety requirements and training. So Chris, do you want to give a heads up on what's on the horizon and what's some of the current initiatives on the training and professional development?
With pleasure. So there's lots of professional development opportunities available for providers that we're excited to share with you. One of the big highlights is a virtual classroom called Partnering with Your Regulator. We've actually created a sister training for regulators to participate in at the same time that's called Cultivating Professional Partnerships. And just to go back to what Tracy was messaging, that we really are working hard to cultivate a collaborative relationship between regulators and providers. So if you haven't checked out the virtual class, I would encourage you to go to the ECETP website and register. We're getting a ton of really positive feedback. The virtual classroom is a smaller group setting that you can do right from home. There's maybe 30 or 40 peers who would be there to facilitate some really great discussions. The other important update on the provider horizon, we have a progressive health and safety training. So many of you are very familiar with building our foundations of health and safety, which was the original 5-hour e-learning. And this is just the progressive next step. So it's called Building on the Foundations. It is a 5-hour health and safety learning training available to you online. It meets all of the New York State required topics in addition to the federal topics. So again, if you haven't checked that out, it is also posted on the ECETP homepage. Lastly, I think it's important just to remind everyone, about a year ago, actually, it was February the 13th, we implemented a data exchange with our PDP partners. So all of the training that providers take on the ECETP website automatically is transferred into the child care facility system, which is OCFS's electronic system of record. So this data exchange is beneficial, honestly, to us both. It helps providers to keep track of training, but it also allows regulators to see your training within the system. If you haven't already gone in and created an account or updated your account to be part of this exchange, we'd strongly encourage you to do so. Last February 21st, so that's February 21st of 2023, we sent out a Dear Provider letter that outlines all of this information. There were 2 attachments. They're both tip sheets on how to register to become part of the ECETP data exchange, one in English and one in Spanish. If you missed that or it is no longer in your inbox, it is posted on the OCFS website under Info for Providers. So just for anyone who's interested, I know Nora loves data, but in the last year, we have successfully transferred over 350,000 training records between CCFS and ECETP. So we would encourage you to update your account if you haven't already done so.
Thanks, Chris. Lots going on. We will include those links to those new trainings as well as the tip sheets that Chris mentioned that had already gone out. We'll include those and refresh those so that you have them and you can look into the ECETP page. Couple other things on the horizon for 2024 for the Division of Child Care Services. In 2023, we were able to launch a diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility toolkit. That information was distributed to all providers. The toolkit documents were distributed to providers to how to build more culturally responsive care in their programs. We know a lot of this is happening already, and these toolkit documents and elements were to bolster the work that you're already doing and really support the work that you're doing to support the kids and families in care. So we've had a great response. And then also, we wanted to do a small pilot with some providers to get specific feedback on how the toolkit is working in their programs. So we were able to do pilot discussions in Buffalo and in Long Island with all modalities of care. And so that pilot and that feedback is going to be coming out in 2024. So we'll be updating and reflecting back to all of the providers about kind of best practices, what works, what doesn't, if there's updates to that toolkit. We're really grateful for a committee that's here within the Division of Child Care Services that created this work, this body of work, and is really leading this charge. So we're really fortunate to have some amazing leaders with us, both in the regions and also here in the home office, working on the toolkit. And so that report will be coming out in 2024, and more updates to the toolkit you can expect to see. The other thing you should expect to see us and see our faces. We have a lot of conferences and events on the horizon. So a lot of us will be at NACCE, at the New York Association for the Education of Young Children conference, which is in May, which we know a lot of providers attend. So I will be there, and we have a series of workshops that a lot of the folks on the phone you heard today will be there, as well as our regional leadership and others. So please stop by and see us. We have a table. We really want to connect with all of you and connect with what's going on. We also will be participating with the SUNY Center conferences, the New York State Network for Youth Success Conference, and our partners at CSCA who are also doing a conference. So we will be at a lot of conferences, and we will be excited to see all of you, and please come up and check in. And if there's any other things we should be at, we did do the Family Child Care Conference in the past as well. We don't have that date yet, but we will. So thank you again for joining us. I want to just reiterate that this was the first go of it. Stay tuned for more information for the April session. So we'll be doing these every other month. Please feel free to send in questions to the email address, and we'll have those as part of our next session. We'll be sending out this information, and hopefully this was a good overview about what's on horizon for OCFS childcare in the upcoming year. Thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you for bearing with us on our technology. Thank you to PDP, and thank you to John, our interpreter, for helping us out and helping get all of these different technology feats So that concludes our effort today. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, most importantly. Take care.